guys, welcome back to Food Prep Guide. We have another frequently asked questions about canning video for you today. A common question is, how long will my home canned foods last? And that doesn't really have a specific answer. So in lieu of answering that, what we need to do is familiarize ourselves with the signs that canned goods have gone bad, because it can be anywhere from 1 year all the way up to 5 years or more before your canned goods go bad. So I have gathered the top 8 signs that your canned goods have gone bad. So sign number 1 is going to be a bulging lid. So a properly canned item that has not lost its seal and that is still safe to eat is going to be completely flat on top and even a little bit concave, because that vacuum seal has pulled down that lid a little bit. If the lid is bulged in any way, if there's like a hump in the middle of it, that's a sign that gases have fermented inside the jar and they are attempting to basically blow that lid off, and it's a sign that your canned goods have gone bad and it was not safe to eat. Sign number 2 is similar to that, and that is all canning lids have like a little disc in the center that pops like that. And when it's sealed, that little pop or that button in the middle concaves, it goes down and it stays down. So if you ever come across a jar and you can push that button in the center of the lid down and hear that popping noise, then that jar has come unsealed and it is no longer safe to consume. The third sign also involves the lid, and that is just that the seal has come off. So if you are pulling a jar off of the shelf and you go to open it and you don't hear that release of suction, or if it just pops off really easily, or you even go to really cram it off expecting to have to release that suction, and it just plops off without any resistance, that is a false seal. And false seals can occur. Normally they occur when siphoning occurs, which is when the liquid comes up and spills out of your jars, and there will be some food remnants on the rim of the lid, and as the food sits there on the shelf, that food kind of acts as like a glue, and it makes the lid sticky and gives it the appearance of it being sealed when really it's not. So we want to pay attention when we go to open the jar. We want to pay attention to how easily we are able to open that lid. If there is absolutely no resistance at all and you don't hear any kind of release of suction type noise when you open it, then it is not going to be safe to consume, and you can just go ahead and know that that jar is bad. Sign number 4 is visible seepage. So sometimes the contents inside the jar are going to ferment because bad bacteria has gotten in there and gotten trapped. And that fermenting process can cause an upward motion of the contents inside the jar, and if it does it enough, it can actually start seeping outside the jar. And I have even heard of people, when they go to open the jar, that the jar itself doesn't explode, like glass doesn't go anywhere. It's not that type of explosion, but it's like an eruption, like a volcanic eruption, or like one of those science experiments where you see the little foam coming out of the top of the volcano. It's like that when they go to open their jar. So that would obviously be a sign of spoilage. But even seepage, even just liquid seepage coming out of the jar on the rim, not in such an obvious way, even that is going to be a sign that the canned food has gone bad. Sign number 5 that a canned good has gone bad is going to be active bubbles. Now this is such an important topic that we actually have an entire video dedicated to this topic of active bubbles versus inactive bubbles, and I will link that video above because it does require a little bit more detail than what I'm going to be talking about in this video. But just know that if you go to open a canned goods and you see bubbles rising to the top and more of like a fizzing type motion, and especially if you pop open that lid and a whole bunch of bubbles rush up to the top, that's going to be a sign that the canned goods have gone bad. But again, check out that video that I linked above previously for a very detailed account of good bubbles versus bad bubbles. Sign number 6 that canned goods have gone bad is going to be if the lid spews when you open it. Now this is sort of like a fine line, because we do expect to hear a noise when we open the lid because it's releasing suction. So there does need to be a little bit of a spurt type sound when we open the lid, but if it makes this high-pitched spewing type noise, and especially when it's paired with that kind of like volcanic eruption style release of liquid, then that's going to be a sign that it is bad. The last two signs, sign 7 and sign 8, are kind of go along with each other, and they're pretty obvious, but sign number 7 is just use your eyes. If you open the lid and you look in your contents, let's say none of those things happen. It didn't spew, there's no active bubbles, your lid was good and sealed. Let's say no other indicators were there that your canned goods have gone bad. There's always the eye test and the smell test. So the eye test is just looking for signs of mold and looking for a film layer like on top that could, you've seen like a gas spill, and it's just like a layer of gas, or when oil and water mix together and you can see this little layer of the oil on top. It's not going to be oil because there shouldn't be oil in your canning jar because it's not safe to can, but there could be this little film of just something that doesn't look quite right on the top of the food, and that's a sign that it has gone bad. Likewise, our smell test, and that's the final sign, is if it doesn't smell good, if in doubt, throw it out. That's what I live by, and there's just something about our sniffer that can tell us a lot about food, and if it doesn't smell like it's supposed to smell, go ahead and toss it out and don't risk it. Okay, y'all, I hope that helps. Familiarize yourselves with these signs that canned goods have gone bad. Like I said, canned goods can last a very long time. We can be pushing 5 years or even longer. I have heard of a woman who opened up a can of green beans that were 20 years old. I personally wouldn't be comfortable doing that, but they can last a really long time. So we just need to familiarize ourselves with the signs that they've gone bad so that we can know for sure no matter how much time has passed since we've canned. Okay, y'all, hope that was helpful to y'all, and we will see you next time. Bye.